Hey, good morning. Just want to do a quick recap of the Central Carolina Grand Prix that we shot the other weekend. We've had some family stuff come up, and as a result, time's been a little tight. Otherwise, I would have gotten this out sooner. So, the Central Carolina Grand Prix was in Burlington, North Carolina, and not a bad drive, probably about 5 hours for us here. And we got out there Friday, had a chance to look over the range, met up with two of our fellow shooters from our local club out there. So in total, there were four of us from our local club competing at that particular Grand Prix. So we looked over the range, we BS'd a little bit, and kind of got settled. Um, Saturday, which is the first day of the match, the lanes open, or excuse me, the sight-in range opened at 7 o'clock, so we're there promptly at about 7. And started going through the rifles, making sure that everything was good after the trip, because, stuff gets bumped, things like that. Once we were sighted in, at that point we had to chronograph the rifles at about 7:45. Now, we shoot WFTF piston class, and as a result, the maximum energy that we can produce at the muzzle is 12 foot-pounds. Amy was shooting, I think, 780 feet per second with an 8.3 grain pellet. I was shooting about the same, but I was shooting it with an 8.6 grain pellet, so both of us were within the 12 foot-pound limitation. Then we had our shooter meeting, and that basically goes over the rules of the match. Pretty typical stuff. If you shot a Grand Prix, they're all pretty consistent, which is a good thing. You know what to expect. And once that was over, then we got down to shooting. So it's 2 days of shooting, 60 shots each day. You have 15 lanes, and each lane has 2 targets, and you hit each target twice, so that's a maximum of 60 points. Day one was pretty good for me. I mean, I wasn't thrilled with it, but I wasn't disappointed with it. Considering the pressure of competition and the travel and the lack of sleep and all that stuff, I felt pretty good with the way I shot. I think I scored right around 35. I'll put the card up so you can see what that is. So when you're looking at the cards, an X means that you knocked the target down, and O means that you did not. So as I've mentioned in previous videos, there's no points for almost. So anyhow, like I said, day one went pretty well. Amy shot reasonably well. I shot a bit better and was pretty happy with my performance. Amy was starting to have problems with her scope at that point. So after the match was over, we went back out to the sight-in range. This is probably about 2, 3 o'clock. And went through her gear and found some issues with her scope setup. So we worked on that until probably about 4 or 4:30. In that vicinity, and decided, she's getting frustrated, it's late in the day, it's hot, let's wrap it up and we'll pick it up the next morning. So fast forward, day 2, get out there, 7 o'clock, same thing, go to the sight-in range. I take a couple shots at 50 yards just to verify that I'm hitting where I need to. It's dead center. I mean, real nice groups within a half inch, no problem at 50 yards, felt real good with my equipment. We spent some time on Amy's scope, did what we could. We knew it was kind of it wasn't perfect, it wasn't where it needed to be, but hopefully it was going to be good enough for her to do reasonably well at the match. So at that point, again, we go chronograph the rifles, same results there, and we start the day 2. So again, 15 lanes, completely different targets this time, 2 targets per lane, 2 shots per target, 60 points possible. I'm shooting with one of my other competitors from our local range. We're doing great. He's shooting well, I'm shooting well. Really expecting a good day. I was shooting for somewhere around a 45, maybe a 40 for score on day 2. I was on track for that. First 6 lanes, I would say, were absolutely fantastic, no complaints. Then I got to the 7th lane, and I was missing easy shots. I think I had one that was probably about a 3/4 inch kill zone at about 25 yards, which should be a no-brainer, and I missed it. Not just once, but twice, so that was a little frustrating. Now, the problem that I ran into here, and it's something I need to address with my home course, the majority of the targets on this course were painted black with a white kill zone, which means if you missed the kill zone, you couldn't figure out where the pellet was going. So I couldn't adjust my hold or anything like that. I had no idea, so I tried monkeying around but just couldn't figure it out. Finally, I think 2 or 3 lanes later, hit a target, and I could see where I hit, and it was about an inch low. Now, have no idea at that point what the heck's going on. I'm assuming there's something wrong with the scope or the rifle. Maybe I'm dropping velocity, something. So I start holding an inch over, and I cleared a lane. So that means I hit all 4 shots perfect. The lane after that, I got, I think, 2 or 3 out of 4, which, okay, considering that I'm having to hold over, I'll take it. It's better than not getting anything. And then it went downhill. It got to the point in the last 2 lanes of the course that I wasn't even hitting steel. I don't know what the story was. It's never happened to me before, so at that point I was just not trusting my gear. So I wrapped up the course. Day 2 was absolutely horrible, really frustrating, but it gave me something to think about, some things to learn, and as I move forward, I'll go through some of the changes I'm making, both in my shooting as well as in my gear, and why I'm making those changes. Amy's day was even worse. She got about 6 shots into it, and just her rifle and scope combination were not cooperating. Fortunately, one of the other competitors was kind enough to let her use his PCP, and she was nailing it, clearing lanes, doing fantastic. So clearly it wasn't her, it was the equipment, and again, there's some work to be done there. But all in all, a really good time. Had a great time hanging out with everybody, BS, and everybody's really friendly, really helpful, picked up a lot of tips, learned a lot. You know, this is our 2nd Grand Prix, and we're only a year into this field target thing, so we're still learning big time. But the cool thing is you know, you start out at that point, and there's only one direction to go, and that's up. And given the amount of experience that we're gaining and the knowledge that we're gaining from some of these other people, it's been a heck of a lot of fun, and I can certainly see my performance improving over time. So anyhow, that's just a quick wrap up of the last Grand Prix, and I apologize there isn't more video, but you know, shooting, competing, and trying to get video at the same time is about impossible, especially with this course. The lanes were very close together, which means there's very little time between targets to, you know, futz around and take pictures and whatnot. But great course, great group of people, really enjoyed it. Anyhow, hope you're all doing well, and I will catch you on the next video. Take care.